Welcome. In this video, we will be doing a comprehensive collective reading for the week of November 7th, which is Monday, November 7th, all the way through Sunday, November 13th. So here we are. It is the month of Thanksgiving, and we shouldn't wait for this month to come around to feel gratitude for so many things, but hey, we're getting into that vibe, aren't we all? I am Daisy, your hostess, and if you're new to my channel, welcome, and to our fortune community, welcome back. I know that this channel is kind of a little bit of this and a little bit of that, but it is all me. Okay, well, what are we gonna get in this video? Well, if you are new, there's gonna be a lot of goodies. We are going to go through the lunar phase of where the moon is during the week, and which constellation it's going through and how that's going to affect us. Then that will be followed by the 7-day forecast, which is one card draw for each day of the week. Then we will go ahead and we will do angels and demons, yes, pleasures and temptations. So what will be the pleasures that we can focus on, and what is it that we might need to avoid? And then that will be followed by the Zodiac. So we will do each element of the Zodiac, which are going to be our fire signs, our water signs, our earth signs, and our air signs. And then we will do a 1-number draw so we can get the number influence of the week. And that will be followed by the subscribers community question. So it is a question brought to you by you. So if you are interested in getting a 1 mini reading to a question that you have, please submit it here on this post and I will try and grab it for a future session. And then we will conclude that with a meditation and affirmation. So it's a 1-minute meditation where we come in to our space, sensing our breath, giving ourselves a 1-minute break from all the chaos and all the noise, and to come back in and center. And then I share an affirmation with you, which you can keep and use it for the week, or you can say, I like it for right now only. Are you ready? Stick around. Let's get started. In this section, we will now take a look at the lunar phases for the week of Monday, November 7th through Sunday, November 13th. With its ever-changing faces, the moon serves as a gauge not only for where things are and where we are, but also what influences it has over us as it's going through the different constellations in the heavens. Some nights the moon is large and full, and we are just amazed and awed at its grandeur and its brightness, and other nights we can hardly see it at all. Because of the moon's connection to water and the tides, it is said to represent our emotions and our subconscious mind. What we see on the surface sometimes does not reflect what is really going underneath. So as the moon changes in the skies, it gives us an opportunity to realize how also there is that subtle change in our life. So let us use the next phases of the moon to see how we will be influenced by the moon, the magnification of the influences of the constellation it's going through, and how we can prepare for the week. We will be experiencing the influence of Taurus as the moon moves through the constellation of Taurus through Monday the 7th, Tuesday the 8th, and Wednesday the 9th. Keep in mind that on Tuesday, November 8th, we will have the full moon in Taurus. So the moon travels through Taurus, and all this is being experienced under the Scorpio season. So we have the subtleties of Scorpio with that energy of the water, and then the moon moving through and magnifying the earthy Taurus as it's blowing up in full view, where it's a lot that's going to be going on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So what we could say is that with Taurus, there will be a sense of grounding, a sense of getting back to business, a sense of being what we would call on firm ground. Yet understand that things are not going to be as smooth as you'd like, because on November 8th, Taurus full moon is changing the scenario. Scorpio itself is urging all to deal with transformation. This is not a time to sit back. This is a time to take action. Don't wait for change to happen to you. This is where you become proactive. You need to start looking at any unproductive habits that might be holding you back and begin whittling at them and replacing them with things that you want in your life, things that are going to empower you and build you up. Taurus, as being a fixed sign with that spring equinox, is giving us this sense of springing forward. Let's get things done. Use these next 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, to regain your presence and your purpose in life. Use the magnification of the sentimental moon to elevate your awareness about the things that you want to achieve. You might want to think about your physical body. You may want to think about your relationships, more grounding relationships. You may want to take things a little bit slower. Use this Taurus energy to cultivate your strength, to anchor in with the things that are important in your life. Taurus is about steadiness. Taurus is about building. Taurus is about enjoying those, what I would call, sensual sensations. And this is because it is ruled by Venus. Approach these days with that sense of grounding, that sense of, what I would say, taking things in stride and slowing things down to digest life. We move on to our next days, which is Thursday and Friday. Thursday and Friday, we see now that the moon is waning gibbous into Gemini. As the moon itself begins to wane, offering us a time of reflection and a time of purging, as we're dealing with certain issues, could be things at work or in our relationships. There are things that are no longer needed. Maybe people or persons that were part of our lives are no longer there. We look around and we're wondering, where did so-and-so go? Certain people are no longer in our lives. And at the same time, we're not really missing them. We just kind of realize that they're no longer there. Also, you might find that on Thursday and Friday, there will also be projects that are no longer important. You may find yourself on Thursday and Friday reassessing your plans, your goals, maybe your short-term goals. And you might find that as you're reviewing these things, some of these things are not applicable anymore. And so it is time to go back to that drawing board and set up. And isn't that interesting that we're kind of doing this here now as we get closer to the end of the year, when we're beginning to set up for these New Year's resolutions. So it's not unusual that this might be what the moon is beginning to illuminate and bring awareness to as it is moving through Gemini. You may feel a little bit insecure or not certain about that future. For some, it may feel like the grass is greener on the other side, and so there's this anxiety also building up. Thursday and Friday, you may feel inclined to be more talkative, to be more expressive about projects, about things in the relationship, about your future, and things that are happening at work. You may feel more comfortable being in those social settings. Keep in mind that we are dealing with a mutable air sign that does have a catalyst that pushes towards completions. Overall, embrace the Gemini energy to do research, to socialize, and to get answers to some of the questions that you've been curious about. Then on Saturday and Sunday, our waning gibbous moon moves into constellation Cancer. We have now a water sign with the moon, with all the sensitivity, itself full of emotions. So we've got a double whammy to pay attention to here. Waning moons usually represent letting go, slowing down, letting things down easily. So could this be that there might be a breakup? Could this be that some plans are being put on a shelf? What's important is that you stay strong in your resolve to do the things that you really want in life, and at the same time, fully release what is no longer serving. Remember, we've also got the Scorpio season. So you've got the Scorpio season, which is that water turbulence energy of the Scorpio. You've got the water sensitive emotion of the moon also, and then it is traveling through another water sign, Cancer. And here we have the weekend here, Saturday and Sunday, and here we're dealing with all this that's showing up for us now. You may find that you're making decisions with your heart and not your mind. What is also important is to understand that this is the general energy. So there might be also people, others involved that might want to take advantage and might be manipulating with their feelings to get something. So pay close attention to that as issues arise on Saturday and Sunday. I am sensing a strong kind of relationship or family involvement in this matter. Tread carefully on the hearts of other people, okay? And there you have it. It's going to be crazy, crazy, I say, this interesting week of November 7th through Sunday, the 13th. I say, you got this. In this section, we will now do the 7-day forecast for November 7th through Sunday, November 13th. So let's go ahead and see what will be revealed. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All right. Okay. The Queen of Pentacles. She is representative of Earth sign. And if you go back to the lunar phase, interesting that the moon is waxing gibbous in Taurus. And so as it's being revealing more things, it's turning brighter, we could see that there are some things now, and it could be in the area of our material plane. This is an earth element, coincidentally, and the moon moving into Taurus. So as we're looking at the situation, she represents abundance. She represents material things and beauty. And here we are on Monday dealing with those issues of financial, issues of maybe real estate contracts, or dealing with home issues, or things that have to affect the flow of money in our life. And so this is saying, hey, there's going to be some bumps on Monday. And the moon is working to show those areas that maybe you have neglected. If this is in a relationship, maybe there's something that's off when it comes to the reason that this partnership is together, whether it's intimate or, a business relationship. Why is this relationship? Is it a superficial relationship? And now the moon is revealing that there may be some shortcomings. Or if this is a family setting, maybe you are falling short of your, role in being a provider or helping, have some sense of security in the home. So this is very interesting. Issues are showing up about money mismanagement, some losses, some hiccups, and it's a little rough patch, I would say. Okay, let's look at Tuesday. Well, despite the odds, we get through, we forge on, and we see that here with the Seven of Wands. And we have that full moon blowing things up, showing things up. It is about culminations. And this could also mean that, you were dealing with unfinished projects and now you are just, facing that music and dealing with that situation. And of course, when we see this, it feels like there's a struggle. It feels like you're dealing with something that might be of opposition. And we would say, well, that full moon is bringing this. It's asking you to deal with things at the ground level. So when it comes to a relationship, it could be two things. You see the value in fighting for the relationship, or there is too much that you're dealing with. And now here you find yourself, with conflicts and working through them. And it's not fun, when you're trying to share your point of view with someone else and you're just coming up against that struggle, but you're really passionate. There is some sense of passion, and you see that wherever you stand, no matter how difficult things are, you are willing to move forward. And even when it comes to a business partnership or something at work, it's like there is some conflict. And again, moon in Taurus, moon in that earth sign, is asking you to bring the game on here, now, and address those issues. So Tuesday is bringing on this sense that you need to hold your ground no matter what challenges are. You need to hold your position against all those who are trying to either, take your spot, whether it's something at work or whether it's a deal that you're working on, maybe a contract, maybe it was something that you were putting together and now you're like, you know what, heck no, I'm going to fight for this. So while you have this momentum, and with the Seven of Wands, you have what you need to deal with this. You have the resolve, and Taurus is coming in, showing you how, helping you put your feet on the ground firm and face this situation head on. Let's see what happens on Wednesday. Whoa. A major arcana. Here we have the Tower. We see people kind of getting blown up and blown out. Something that is beyond your control. Like no matter what happened before this moment, while you may want to think that you may have had some play in it, this was about to happen either way. There is an outside force that was in there, that was part of that timeline, that was going to blow this up. And really, the moon, the full moon in Taurus just brought it out. And here it is. It no longer can be kept hidden. And, reaching the situation was almost no other way to get through it, because even when you look at this tower, there's like, well, how do you get in the tower? So everything was just like even unreachable. This issue was almost unreachable. And the only way that it was going to happen was through exposing what got exposed, through the work of the moon going through Taurus constellation, bringing things back down to reality. So this argument, this confrontation, it was going to happen. So Wednesday, it's like the culmination of whatever it is. It's just really going to come out. Whether it's in a intimate relationship, yes, there could be a very uncomfortable scenario and there might be a breakup and maybe this relationship is ending, or maybe we're talking about a shift in what is the foundation of how this relationship started, and you're beginning to feel that, oil and vinegar, things are just not working, and slowly you're seeing a different way in how you're viewing your partner. And when it comes to the work, maybe something is going to happen at work. If this was a work-related situation on Wednesday, what we're seeing is, hey, this is where it's going to happen. Either someone's going to get the pink slip or chaos at work. There's something that's going to blow up and it's not going to be pretty. No, there's going to be something that's going to disrupt the flow at work. So the other situation that we see when it comes to financial. And you could see how there's that sense here that come Wednesday, there will be a financial loss. This is going to be a wake-up call regarding this housing thing. And remember how I mentioned something that it could be a contract for some, a collective. This could mean some issues with probably foreclosure or an eviction because of the money issue and not being able to, pay that rent because other things came up. So on Wednesday, full force of the moon moving through Taurus while it was waxing, going full, and now waning. And isn't that interesting? As it's now waning, the issue now had nowhere to go but burst out, and the situation now needs to be addressed. So if you really value your relationship, this is a time to take what I would call make some damage control and open a line of communication, clear any misunderstandings. And it doesn't necessarily mean a intimate relationship, even if this was something that happened at work. Communication is the beginning step to clear whatever happened. And if it's in your finances, well, definitely you need to pay very close attention to all your financial transactions. Let's see what happens on Thursday as we see the moon going into now Gemini. Okay, we have the King of Wands. With the King of Wands, when it's in the right side position, and you can check my Learn Tarot tutorial on how to read the King of Wands for more of its intricate symbolism. So we see someone here that is gentle in his rulership, gentle in his wisdom. He has everything he touches yields fruits of its kind, full of wisdom. There is courage here when we see the lion, and we see the creativity and spirituality of the lizard, a little gecko friend. So he has information coming to him, and he has resources. We see the red in power here. So upside down on Thursday, this is a sense that we are not in our throne. So we have, when you look at this, we have two power situations, the power with the material world, and then the power of our own personal drive, our sense of what I am, who I am, and my confidence, my courage, my momentum. And so all this is kind of bringing this energy really down. You're kind of losing your drive. And as I mentioned, now the moon traveling through the constellation of Gemini is opening up communication, which is something that was not happening, whether it had to do with relationships, whether career, or with your finances, or a business deal. The communication was not there. You can't assume. There's a great book out there, The 4 Agreements, and one of that is don't assume. Don't assume. You don't put the thought out there. Always confirm what you don't know. So where there was confidence, now there is not. Whether this person was trying to reach a goal and pushing hard against all odds. Because remember now, interesting how we have the 7 of Wands and the King is in Wands. So all that pushing with your will and your intensity didn't get you where you wanted to be. Maybe it was part of this catalyst that created what needed to happen here. But where it's at now doesn't feel good. And even though I see this as like a lucky 7, because the number 7 is associated with intuition and awareness, and you were following your intuition, it's just that the other players were also following their role in what needed to happen. So here we are now on Thursday with the King of Wands in reverse, and perhaps now we get to see a little bit of what we weren't seeing before. This could be so many things. And again, because this is not a personal one-on-one, I am not at the liberty to ask questions as a consultant. So I'm just going to have to draw from the ethers here and just try to grab as many scenarios that are pulling through. So in the area of love and romance, maybe there is this person that is a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too controlling. and being forceful. Because with the king right side up, he is kind and generous. But like this, maybe he's just pushing, or she's pushing a little bit too much. Now, if it has to do with your business or at work and there's some issues that came up, and maybe, what this confrontation happened was perhaps you were depending on others and maybe taking it too easy, and maybe not doing your part in the team. Or if you are in a managerial situation, maybe you didn't assume the leadership that you needed to assume so that you can lead the company in the direction of success. And again, as we see that the Queen of Pentacles is started off the week, we can go back and just say, as you sit here looking at the situation on Thursday, maybe you just didn't take charge of your finances. And if this is like a group situation where you're managing money for an organization, or the family unit, because for me, I always see the family unit that should be run as a business, trying to help each one succeed, trying to really kind of learn the skills as a family, whether it's finances, whether it's community involvement, whether it's those personal educational goals or those spiritual goals, or just those things that really help that unit. You can't just throw it all on one person. And maybe this was what's happening, was you were just being so lax with the finances and you didn't have any financial goals, that things just got out of hand for you. So we look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Hey, y'all didn't tell me that I didn't throw the Sunday card. What? I was looking down and I'm like, there's a card missing here. You too funny. Y'all too funny on me. Cute, not cute, right? Okay, let me just move this up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I'm like Friday, Saturday, and where's Sunday? Okay, well, there you go. I got you. I found you Sunday. Okay, so here we go on Friday. Oh, Lord. So definitely we see that theme is rough. Look at that. I mean, despite what you wanted to do, it actually just created more stuff. And then come Friday, there's going to be a couple things. I'm just going to throw this one out there. Let me move it this way so you could see that we are dealing with the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles. And again, Friday, we are still here in Gemini moon, where it is about communication. It is about speaking your truth. And it's also about looking at how to approach old problems with new solutions. So, but it came in the reverse. So we see that there is a struggle still. Could be that you had less money than you did have week. And so maybe your paycheck or the money that's coming in is not going to help whatever needs to be paid off that showed up here, whether it was a deal that fell through, whether it was a mortgage or other bills, that it's like the money's not going to be enough. This is, and this could be also money and friendship. Maybe you loaned some money out and that person right now, you're expecting them to pay back and it's not coming back to you. Or you right now need a favor because you are finding yourself in a bind and you're trying to reach out, and those supposed friends are not there for you. So that's kind of really putting you into a little bit of a stress. When it comes to business, something happened in your business, in your organization, and it blew up bad. And so you're trying to find out how to fix this problem. And it's just right now a huge loss for you and your investments and this company that, you were working with. So you're not getting back what you've put into it. So when we go back to the relationship, look how we start. We start on Monday with the Queen upside down, the loss of all this power, the loss of this relationship. And now it's just lost so much value come Friday. It's just so much has happened. You feel like this person's been taking advantage of you, and it's just really gone down south. And when it comes to career, we could see that not everything is being shared. Not everything is equal. And so there is something that's off here, whether it's that you were shortchanged when it comes to, the work. If this is in partnership, things are not balancing out. Somebody here is not saying the truth. And remember that the moon is now in Gemini. Gemini is about communication and about truth. And so the full moon in Taurus, bringing us back down to earth, exposing everything, having this situation, and still lingered. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's Taurus full moon activity here, blowing it up. Come in Gemini, come in on Thursday and Friday. Now we have that moon here in this area of, okay, it's all out here. We've got to fix this. We've got to talk about this. The truth will set you free. And so that's where we find ourselves on Friday. Let's see what happens when we move into Saturday. As if we recall, Cancer is the constellation where the moon is going to park. And we see that we have the Page of Wands. And so usually the Page of Wands, if you want to look at my tarot playlist on Learn How to Read Tarot, I have that particular card. And this, it's like you were waiting for something. You were waiting for something that was started on Tuesday, some message or some very important information that you were rather hopeful, but now, the week has gone by and, what you were expecting here didn't come through for you. And so now this message, whether it was some that was going to help you out and the promises were not there for you, it's just being shown here with the Page of Wands. One of the things to keep in mind is that come Saturday, the moon now moves into Cancer. And here, the Cancer moon is about reaching those new goals or looking at new things. So what do we see here with the Page of Wands? It's like these goals, we take a look at like the progression. Take a look at some of this progression that we see here. Tuesday, you're determined to face the music. You're determined to stand your ground. And then the king's like lost his drive. He lost the battle. So you lost your position and lost it so bad that you've even lost your message, your drive, your goal. It's like it's the goal is no longer in sight. It just got thrown out. It's like there's a whole new thing that you need to start putting together as, we come on Saturday facing this whole new situation that is in front of us. So Cancer is ruled by the moon. So it's like we need to be honest. The moon is about that hidden, the subconscious, our intuitions, our emotions. And that's something that is not here. There is the sense of nurturing, the sense of sensitivity. This was too rough of a week. And on Saturday, now that we've moved away from the week, having this chance to really kind of sit back and look and reassess your goals, that's what you're being urged to do, because right now you've lost sight of what you want. And you lost sight of that dream. You lost sight of that goal. And you also kind of lost a little bit of yourself. So it's like because of the moon in Cancer is working with your energy on Saturday, it's about coming back home to your drive. And maybe it's about time to start reassessing life so you can start a new journey and let go of this one. And remember that the moon is now in its waning stage. So a lot of things may be overlooked, but you can begin to let go of some old baggage if you can find it in your heart to reconnect with your faith. They say that faith is small as a seed of mustard. That's all you need. Take time to look at and rearrange your thoughts and recode your life. Sunday, I almost wanted this week to be over. Like, what? Okay. The Ace of Cups. When I see this card, for me, I'm always making a intimate connection with my intuition, with my divine connection with the higher forces here, my gut, my intuition, my spirituality, my connection with the Creator, and all that can flow through me, the wisdom that can be provided only from that source. And as I open my heart to allowing God to flow through me and work through me, then I know that I can continue to do great things. And as it's reversed, this is just such a sad card for me when I see it, because it means so much more, obviously, but it could mean that some information is not coming to you. Someone is not sharing what they want to share, the intimacy that they wanted to share. When it comes to this relationship that, as we started, if this was a new relationship here, suffering from, what's been going on here, and emotionally there's a drain, emotionally there's not something's not there in the area of communication and being able to express feelings. It's just like nothing is there. There's a big void. And so if we do tune in with the beginning of the journey here, and we see that this possibly could happen to be with a relationship, and this relationship is not there anymore. It's like, and we see this in that situation here where the breakup. But I'll tell you what is also pretty cool. We started the week with an earth sign. The moon was in the constellation of Taurus, an earth sign. We end up on Sunday with a water sign. The moon happens to be in Cancer. And so Cancer is ruled by the moon, asking us and urging us to connect with, that part of us, to connect with our heart, to express some self-love and compassion, and which is lacking. And so this is interesting how it's on Sunday and it's asking us, hey, you need to reconnect. All right, there you have it. Let's move on now to angels and demons. What will be our pleasures and what will be our temptations? So it'll be interesting how this is going to play itself out on this stage. Okay. Angels and demons. Pleasures and temptations. Okay. Well, the Hermit. The Hermit here is in this deck number 9. And the Hermit has time on his side and a staff. And the number 9 refers to that universal love, divine wisdom, responsibility with romance, and some sense of freedom as this freedom walker takes on his journey, not worried about time. And because of the gray hair, we could have a sense that he has wisdom. He has learned from his experiences. And so what would be the pleasure? What would be the pleasure here? The pleasure would be to take what we have and use it as a foundation so that we can move forward where we need to go. And as the angel comes in to bring and whisper this option, it's about contemplating that perhaps whatever happened here, whether there was a breakup or a major loss, you are seeking that time alone. You're not afraid to take the chance to reflect of what has transpired, and that you are okay in reflecting with what has transpired, with all this chaos and clutter that has happened in your life and how you got there. You're okay in owning what has happened, and that you are willing to live an authentic life. You're willing to learn from these lessons. You're willing to really connect with your true self. And now that it's almost like you've learned what's important and what really matters. And this situation that we saw here, that took us here, where we felt that we were not listening to the messages, whether they were coming from our friends here on the physical plane or they were coming from a higher power. We weren't ready, but now we see that this is the pleasure. Showing up is about coming into ourselves and opening up to the help, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a choice of being in solitude, and we are ready to find that love inside through the only way that it can come, through self-understanding. When we begin to understand our shortcomings, our journey, we can then have compassion and understanding for the journeys of others. And also when it comes to work, this is about possibly, maybe this is the pleasure of taking a decision that you're going to start looking for a new job, looking for something that gives you real purpose in life. Or when it comes to finances, the pleasure would be to really think about what is the role of money and finances in your life. And maybe because we see that this is all in a very earth tone, it has a sense that maybe now you have a better understanding that the material things, while they may be fun, they are not really what brings you the greater meaning of life. So the pleasure here would be yes to walking away from this, to owning it, to finding that inner peace and higher wisdom. Or temptations. The Six of Cups. Okay, so we have the Six of Cups. Six of Cups is a water sign in the right position. I like how it says pleasure, but this one would be temptation. And so here, beautiful full moon, everything is exposed. We can see everything, nothing is hidden. We also see the little couple here playing in the water with the 6 lilies, willing to transform, willing to be all out there with their feelings and okay with whatever comes their way through transformation and what have you. So it's interesting that as it is in reverse, what is the temptation? We don't want to listen to the higher messages that come from source, from God, from universe. We don't want to listen to our friends and families or associates. We are totally ignoring all this. And so in this situation, what do we see as a temptation? To ignore that this happened and to stay disconnected and somehow just say, hey, you know what? It's okay because you're living in the past. And so even these feelings here, the moon being upside down, it's not like she's up there giving you some light to the subconscious feelings of your heart, to the light of the inner knowings and secrets of your inner being. No, we want to cover all this up, cover it. We don't want to bring it out. We just want to keep going as if things are okay. We don't want to communicate. We don't want to talk about this because we just feel uncomfortable when we go out there to slay our dragons. And so part of this temptation is just not to deal with it. Interesting. We either grow through this by our major card with the Hermit. That's the pleasure. Angels are walking through, or the demons and temptations, and forget that anything just happened and just go on as if. And there you have it. Angels and demons. Interesting how even the color are yin and yang. You could feel the sense of which way do I go? Which way? So which way will you go? All right, let's move on now to our zodiac elements. All right, let's get to it. This is where we're going to now throw one card for each of the elements. And so we're going to go ahead and start with our fire signs. Then we will go with our water signs. Then we will do our earth signs. And then finish it off with our air signs. Fire. All right. My fire signs are my Sagittarius, my Leos, and my Aries. And this is an incredible, incredible message. And as we see what is happening here, I can almost assure myself that I know what you're going to pick, whether it's going to be pleasures or temptations. It's going to be interesting seeing this card that is urging you on. There's a lot of things happening in your life, and it's not about questioning, it's about moving. Keep moving. There is a destination which is called the promised land. Whatever that means for you, what is the ideal scenario? It is waiting for you. There will be mercy, but at the same time, there will be some losses, as we did see some rampage and losses here, not only of the relationships and partnerships, but also of material things. It's almost like starting all over again. Are you willing to start? Are you willing to bring that pure heart? As we see the purity, we see the lessons learned here. And so it is with the death card. Please do check my tarot playlist on how to learn tarot and get to a little bit to know more about the death card through this transformation. And what's interesting, if you see this, one thing to take note is that during the week here, we had one major arcana. This is a major arcana. So for the fire signs, you are going through a gauntlet. You are going through a transformation period. Will you face it forward? As you see here, definitely you have the true intention. It's in there, this desire to connect with what is true, and you will have protection, and that protection is going to help you through this journey that you still have further to go. So don't think that just it's going to stop here. If you choose the pleasures, then there will be that period, because life is about cycles. That's why I love doing the lunar phase. It expands and it recedes, and so such as our life. You don't have to take it from me, please don't, but do look back at your own life, and you will see that you had some peaks and then you had some valleys, then you had some peaks and you had some valleys. What makes getting to those peaks wonderful is the pursuit. What helps you as you go through the valleys is the lessons learned, and that is what we need to see. For my fire signs, it's the lessons learned. You have the fire to go through. Just kind of realize that if it's meant to be, it will show up in your life. Let's now move on with our water sign. Ah la la, I love this for my water signs with the Queen of Wands. My water signs are Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer. And very interesting what is being revealed here. She has power, and everything she touches always produces fruits of its kind and always offers something for others. So we see her here in this beautiful throne. We see a lot of gold here, a lot of beautiful color, yellow. The yellow refers to happiness. It refers to positivity and great energy. So despite what we see here, this for the water signs, we see that you will have the ability to move through. And I know this because the Queen is holding two objects in her hand, the staff that she has at her command and the sunflower. The sunflower refers to goodness, honesty, and truth. So I could see that whatever is showing up, yes, it will be something that you will be able to move with and work with. The Queen showing up for the water signs is a good sign despite the situation. It's showing that you will be able to manage this through your will, through this sense of positivity. So you are optimistic about this. So this gives me an idea which way you might go when it comes to angels and demons. Definitely a very positive energy here moving forward. And at the same time, we have the black cat here. So you do have like an inside connection. You are actually going to tap into something that's going to get you through a lot of good luck charms, with not only with the sunflower, but you've got a support that you can always count on, whether it's a supernatural thing such as God and the angels protecting you, or resources and people that you confide in. That is what is showing here, that's going to help you deal with this. In the end, you will be strong dealing with this situation. Okay, now let's take a look at the earth signs. So what's the struggle with the earth signs? So we see here being revealed with the 7 of Swords. So we've got 2 swords left in the ground, but we're walking away with 5 in our hand, feeling somewhat defeated as we look at this expression on this person, feeling somewhat defeated. There's a lot of meaning here as we're looking at this card in the reverse. And one of this is because swords falls under the air signs, a very mental sign with thought and knowledge and wisdom. So it looks like you going back to, isn't that interesting? Let's do this. It looks like Tuesday's going to be a tough day for the earth signs because you are choosing to take this action without really thinking it through. You really are not thinking it through. And so by using old tactics, it's really going to continue to give you the same results. You know, you've heard that saying, it says, if you want new results, you've got to have new approaches. So lacking that new approach is what's going to make this tough. But having this little foresight, if you find yourself in any situation, reminds you about this message that's coming through. It's not like, oh, look, she predicted it. Oh no, I don't want to be that person, my dear ones. That's not me. This is everyday life. It could be something really silly. You're like, oh, yeah, I remember Daisy said that, and how would I approach this? And it's that's all. It's not about predictions. It's about how do you go into the arena. Isn't it great when there's a little bit of insight, something that kind of reminds you, oh, I could, you know what, I'm going to try something new. And that may make or break the deal. So as we see this in this relationship, whether it's an intimate relationship or a work-related team relationship that we see here, through the 7 of Swords, what we can also see is maybe someone wants to pass the blame on you. Maybe someone wants to manipulate the situation and throw it on you and just say, well, it's your fault. You know, and could it be that someone has betrayed you, something that you've put out there, whether it has to do in business or in love? Something has happened and now it's broken. And so what you need to be very careful is how you're going to approach this. How are you going to approach this? Are you going to want to ignore this and just say nothing happened because you don't want to, you know, get into the weeds of having to work it through and collaborate and figure that out? So showing in the reverse, the lies are over. So when we see the moon, remember the moon in the earth sign, because remember we're talking about the earth sign. So what a coincidence. The full moon in Taurus, and we're talking about our earth signs, Taurus, Capricorns, and Virgos. So isn't that interesting for my Taurus, my Capricorn, and Virgos? The full moon is in Taurus on Tuesday. 7 of Wands showed up. We got the fire sign. You got a fire spirit to get through that because you want to get to the bottom of it. And now we have the 7 of Swords in reverse, saying, you know what? Because of you pushing through, now it has been revealed. And so this is where you find yourself as you're trying now to figure out these pieces that have fallen apart here. Maybe somebody betrayed you, cheated you, and just darn hurt you. And now they have been found out. They thought that it wasn't going to come out, but the moon in Taurus was bringing this influence to help you deal with this. Sure, it doesn't look pretty that it's uncovered. The question is, where do you move from this point? And if this has to do with a relationship, you know what? It's about getting down to the real stuff. Stop playing games and bring more fulfillment in your life with true love. What's the temptation? Pretend that everything is okay, or go with what's real. Okay, let's wrap it up now with our air signs. Our air signs are Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. And look what we have. So on Thursday, we have the King upside down. But now we're dealing with our air signs. So no matter what's happening, our air signs are going to be able to deal with this situation. Even though on Thursday, we do have the same King upside down. And remember, on Thursday, we have the moon transitioning into Gemini, encouraging conversation, encouraging truth and honesty for our air signs, Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Again, isn't that something? So we have that in our favor. Is this a coincidence? Holy cow, right? So our air signs, on Thursday, the moon transitions into Gemini, encouraging the truth, encouraging the conversation to come out. Yes, we may not like what we hear. We may not like what we hear. But isn't that funny that it's the King, a reminder that, hey, for the air signs, Thursday's going to be that big day for you. So definitely something to watch out for on Thursday. So put a feather in your hat and remember, Thursday's your day for our air signs to deal with whatever is going to be showing up. And Gemini is in the air sign. So we'll be able to use that Gemini energy to, help all the air signs get through. So see, there's a lot of teamwork here. I love the teamwork, so it is about being action oriented and determined to deal with this situation that is showing up in your life. With the King of Wands, again, we see someone that is wise, confident, and does have the ability to get things done. At the same time, there's a sense of compassion. Like, you know what? He will be out there in the front of the situation, and he's extremely capable of getting things done. And he does have incredible support here that he does rely on. So use that beautiful energy. Watch out on Thursday for my air signs, and you will get through what I call an incredible cleansing and turn of events that's going to be critical for setting the tone for what's to come as we end the year. So there you have it. All right, let's move on now to our numerology influence section. Okay, I love numbers, and hopefully you'll have fun the way that I bring this to the channel. All right, so this is the numerology part where I will draw one number here and kind of talk about how it's going to influence us, how that vibration of that number will affect us through this week of November 7th through Sunday, November 13th. Well, what do they call that? Don't they call that like snake eyes? Is that what they call that? we have the number 2. And so we are looking at balance here. We see this as we try to split that week in half, where we kind of come in one way and we come out the other way, and there's this sense of balance, while we do still have the number 1. So we look back and we look forward, but the number that did show up is the number 2. And the number 2 is about balance and harmony. It's about faith. And that was something that things have happened in life, apparently, that you've lost your way spiritually, that, you've been bogged down in the pursuit of material things, that you forgot the way. And then we see that here in the Hermit, being reminded, or temptations to fall back to that. So that is the question that we have here with the number 2. And the number 2 also refers to trust. So remember, I said something here, it looks like something about trust. So I believe it was here. And so that'll be interesting. And we do see it the way that the number 2 was shown up in this particular piece. It could have had 2 here with the 0, and it depended how it was going to be. But definitely here it is so descriptive of what is being asked for here, to find that balance in your life. Balance in a way of kind of not to be controlled with the material world, and to find that vibration, that peace, to connect with your intuition again, which is, we saw this come out here on Saturday and Sunday, but mostly on that Sunday card. And then also in the angels and demons, do we follow the intuition, or do we stay grounded in the past and into the material world? So it's very interesting how you will choose to play out, your week, and how will you use this number 2 as it shows up in your life and showing up in our lives right now. The number 2 is ultimately asking us, and the influence is bringing, is to be true to ourselves. And some of you will take that path. Some of you will take the pleasures and choose the authentic path, to do away with the things that are not working, to come back to the place of authenticity. So with the number 2, the goal is to bring peace and harmony and balance into the experiences that are showing up in our lives. Now, there is a dark side to this number, as we know the sense of duality, and here we can think about a child, with the terrible 2s, just having a hard time and trying to get through and trying to avoid conflict, which we see that over here with the temptations. You're tempted to look the other way and avoid the conflict. And so we see that also being offered here with this number 2. So even though the opportunities may be here on that dark tone, we see that there may be a lot of opportunities that may show up, but you are not ready. You don't have the confidence, or maybe you're afraid to make that decision because you just really don't want to be judged. You're too worried about what other people might think about you at this moment. Now, I want to come back to the number 1, because here we see this number 1 only from the respect that the 1, as we find that balance, you have 1 here and we have 1 here. With our past, it's about beginning to let go. With our future, it's about preparing to move on. The number 1 in both, seeking that balance, remember, to step out of our comfort zone and create our own realities, our own beliefs. We have had enough experiences where we can put some things together and say, I know now my truth. And this is the time now to stand on your own feet, so that when you come together again as that number 2, you have that balance and you know both sides of the story. All right, there we have it. Interesting week I see that we will have ahead of us. Let's move on now to our Fortune Forecast subscriber community question for the week. And these questions are brought by you. So if you're interested in providing a question that I can do a mini reading on here on the channel, please do post it in the comment below here, and I will keep adding it to our sessions. Okay, so the question here is, where is my life going? So again, if this applies to you and you have that same question like this one subscriber did, then let's see and pull that together. Keep in mind, this is a collective reading, so it's very vague because I do not have the liberty and the option to, work with you and ask you questions that will help bring stuff out of your closet and help you. Okay, so here we go. Okay, no, that's way more than 3. That's a lot. Okay, so we'll put that back in. We'll give it another shuffle, and here we go. Where is my life going? So we'll start with that, and then we'll see what is kind of holding that concern. And then let's just see where it is going. Where is that? Where could it lead us? Okay. Okay. Wow. So we have 2 big players here. So where is my life going? Strength. And I see some association with this chaos in your life right now. So the strength is let me put it this way. We see this person here. We see the symbol of infinity on the crown. The 8 usually refers to personal power, to finances, to manifesting wealth, to inner wisdom, integrity, truth, and the courage to do that and face all these things. So what we have here is that the strength is upside down. So where is your life going? Because the card came upside down, I can see why you're asking this question. And really is about digging deep and finding what your passions are, and to find out what it is that you are trying to avoid. What is it that you don't want to face? Because the lion is not attacking you. It's the trials and tribulations that are showing up in your life. It's to push you to become better, to connect with the higher version of yourself, to connect with the ideal version. But apparently there's a lack of self-confidence here, that maybe you've forgotten all about your passions and your joy and your happiness, and that there is a sense of, what can I say, not even being fulfilled that used to come when you used to do the things that you love, and you can barely remember that. And then we have here, what is the matter? Like, what is the why don't I have this drive? Why don't I have the strength? Why is it that I am not willing to, face my fears? And so we see here with the Hierophant, and the Hierophant here represented with the number 5, and 5 is about personal freedom. 5 is about change, about life lessons. It's about opportunities and pleasures. So when we think about the reading here, the pleasures came here in that with the Hermit, in seeking that solitude, in reconnecting with yourself, and in there you will find courage. And so it's interesting that this is showing up because there is a lot. And if you could see, the Hierophant here is holding the key. So with that question, where's my life going? The strength. So we're lacking the strength to even take control, because even the question, it's almost like you're sitting back and you're watching your life going. So instead of like, hey, I am creating things in my life, I have a plan, you're just sitting and just saying, where is my life going? I'm just sitting, I'm watching it. At the same time, you're like waiting for something higher to give you the blessing to move forward. The thing is that the key is for you to reach and touch. And you see this, it's like there's this blessing. And so with that number 5, it's like this incredible energy, your creator, God, I don't know what your belief is, but with that number 5, we are being encouraged to understand that this creative force, God within, is giving you freedom. It's just, go ahead, grab the key. You have my blessing. Don't we see when the Pope does that? It's like, you have my blessing. So there's this blessing. Or this could be the Prana Mudra. And I have this deck. You could go look at my unboxing. It says energize. And this is about utility, about uplifting. Like, you need to be energized. You need the strength. So it's interesting how, I remembered about this card, or the blessing. So we look at the symbols, and what are these symbols trying to tell us? Here, it's like, what are you waiting for? You have the key. Reach it. You need to have like energy. You need to have that momentum, to create that momentum to get yourself out of this rut, and instead of upside down, so that you can head towards your destination. Know that these things that will present themselves, it's just life happening. But it's not there to attack you. It's only there to make you stronger. All these trials and tribulations are there to make you stronger. It's the game of life. And how do you want to play it? And knowing that you have the blessings to live a big life. Why are you living small? So what would be the outcome? What is the outcome in this situation? There's this no action, no impetus, no courage, not following through on this blessing, this wisdom. And with the Hierophant also comes the message that you need structure in your life. And it's not like it's not there. The structure and traditions are there, to get us through, so that we don't get trapped in what I would say, that haphazard feeling that you're like, where is my life going? But with the structure, with the routine and good habits in place of poor habits, you begin to mold the way through, and you begin to have structure and discipline, and then you can handle different situations because you've had the training to go through these things. And so the Hierophant showing up in your life at this moment, it's like, why are you rebelling? Why are you rebelling against things that are true? And it's like, if you want success, you need to go look at people that have been successful and study what they did. What are their work ethics? What are their disciplines? What are their habits? They just didn't happen. It takes a lot to succeed, and there's a certain discipline. I've never seen an athlete win because he just sat and watched TV. They put hours of either practicing on the field or training for the event. Life is no different. You want a great life? You've got to train, and you've got to ask yourself, what do I want? Am I willing to put the strength in it to get what I want? Let's see how it's going to play out here. And there you go. If you listen to this and follow the structure, then you have the 8 of Wands. And I love this card. We have here Wands going forward. It's like they're all shooting in the same direction. You've got these beautiful birds, messengers that are bringing you good news, and there's hope that you can, be a trailblazer. And so let me just kind of, go back to like this week here and in relationship to this, because these obstacles that, you may be feeling, where's my life going, and the 7 of Wands showed up at the full moon of Taurus, right? And here in this particular mini reading, where's my life going? Well, if you don't put structure, it's not going to go anywhere. But if you use structure and create disciplines and follow through, you are going to set that pace, and you are going to be the manifester of your life. You're going to be the creator, and you are going to set things in motion for yourself that will create more positive things in your life. And you will no longer ask yourself, where is my life going? It's, where am I taking life? Onward and upward. All right, my dear one. We're now going to move on to the meditation and affirmation portion of the reading. In this section, I invite you to join me for a moment of self-awareness, where you turn off your distractions, turn off your phone, close your door, come into your space 1 minute. of self-love, of awareness of your space. And you can close your eyes. What I'll do is I'll ring the bell and you can close your eyes. I'll run the clock for 1 minute, and when minute is over, I'll ring the bell again and you can open your eyes. So during that 1 minute, it may seem long or it may go fast. I invite you to observe your breath, observe your own energy, your nervousness, your twitchingness, observe the thoughts trying to kind of find way and, shout, listen to me, and listen to the subtle noises around you, the feelings of maybe is the air conditioning, turning on and you feel the coolness on your skin, or possibly little noises around the house or where you're at, wherever you're at, maybe outside of where you're at or inside, and kind of just observe. Be the observer. I invite you to be the observer. And in there, maybe even ask yourself, who is observing? And while you do that, observe your breath flow in and flow out. And you could use that also to code that breath and just see yourself filling yourself up with beautiful, energizing breath, expelling things that you no longer need. If something hurts in your body, send that beautiful healing breath to that area and push out all the other stuff that no longer needs to be in that area. And when we ring the bell, you'll come back and you'll feel refreshed and wonderful. So let's get started. All right, come back. I hope that you feel wonderful and a sense of like, ooh, this feels interesting. All right, my dear one, the next thing that we're going to do is close this out with our affirmation. I will say it once and you can say it out loud the second time. You can write this down, put it in your phone, put it with a little timer, or when you ever feel like, something's bugging you, say this affirmation and let it serve you as tonic and booster to help you get through the moment and get through your day and get through your week. The affirmation for this week is, I am open and receptive to all the wealth life brings me. I am open and receptive to all the wealth life brings me. Well, there you have it. I hope that you have enjoyed this, and if I can bring through this channel, through my channel, something that can bring you a little uplifting energy and just a little more hope into the world, then I have done my part in bringing a little sunshine and making your day brighter. Thank you so much for joining me. Please do hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Hey, leave me your comments. I'd like to hear from you. And hit the bell. That way you'll get notified when I put up my next video. So until the next time, be blessed.